There was a time in my life when almost every decision I made was quietly approved or rejected by people who weren't even living my life. I didn't notice it at first. It wasn't loud. It didn't feel like fear. It felt like being normal, like not wanting problems, like just thinking ahead. But in reality, I was constantly adjusting myself, my words, my choices, even my silence, based on how others might react. And the exhausting part wasn't the people. It was the constant noise in my own head. We're taught early that caring what others think is a form of maturity. That being liked is safety. That fitting in is intelligence. But nobody tells you the hidden cost of this mindset. Nobody warns you that one day you'll wake up and realize you don't really know which thoughts are yours and which ones were borrowed from fear. That's when I understood something important. Freedom doesn't come when people approve of you, it comes when their approval stops controlling you. I remember a moment that changed everything. I had made a decision that felt right to me, but it didn't make sense to others. People questioned it, doubted it, laughed at it. And for the first time, instead of explaining myself, I stayed quiet. Not out of anger. Not out of pride. But because I realized something simple, I didn't owe everyone clarity. That silence felt uncomfortable at first, like standing in the cold without a jacket. But then something unexpected happened. The noise stopped. Not outside, inside me. Being unbothered doesn't mean being cold or arrogant. It doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop letting their opinions sit in the driver's seat of your life. There's a big difference. When you care too much about what others think, every comment becomes a verdict. Every reaction feels personal. And slowly, you start shrinking yourself, not because someone told you to, but because you're trying to stay safe. I've noticed that most people who judge loudly are fighting silently. Their opinions are rarely about you. They're about their fears, their regrets, their limits. Once you truly understand that, criticism loses its power. Not because it disappears, but because you finally see it for what it is, noise. And noise only controls you if you keep listening. One of the biggest life hacks I learned is this: if someone's opinion doesn't change your rent, your sleep, or your self-respect, it probably doesn't deserve your energy. We waste so much emotional strength trying to explain ourselves to people who aren't even trying to understand. At some point, you have to ask yourself, am I living my life, or am I performing it? There was another story that stuck with me. I once watched someone completely change the way they spoke, dressed, and behaved just to fit into a certain circle. And for a while, it worked. They were accepted. But the cost was heavy. They were constantly anxious, constantly checking reactions, constantly afraid of slipping up. That's the trap of caring too much. You don't gain freedom, you gain a role. And roles are exhausting to maintain. When you stop caring what others think, something strange happens. You don't become louder. You become calmer. Your decisions feel cleaner. Your mind feels quieter. You start choosing based on alignment, not approval. And people notice that. Some respect it. Some feel threatened by it. Both reactions are none of your business. Silence becomes your shield. Not reacting becomes your power. You realize that not every comment deserves a response, not every opinion deserves a seat at your table. And slowly, life feels lighter. Not because problems disappear, but because you're no longer carrying unnecessary weight. Here's something nobody talks about enough: being unbothered doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice. Some days you'll slip. Some comments will still get under your skin. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. The goal isn't to feel nothing. The goal is to feel without losing yourself. One simple habit that helped me was pausing before reacting. Just a few seconds. Asking myself, does this matter tomorrow? Most of the time, the answer was no. Another habit was choosing silence over explanation. Not as punishment, but as protection. You don't need to justify your path to people who aren't walking it. There's a quiet confidence that comes from being unbothered. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It just exists. And that confidence attracts the right people, the ones who don't need you to perform, explain, or prove yourself constantly. The ones who see you, not your mask. At the end of the day, the power of being unbothered is really about reclaiming your energy, your attention, your peace. Life becomes simpler when you stop trying to manage everyone's perception of you. Because the truth is, people will think what they want anyway. Your job isn't to control that. Your job is to live honestly, quietly, and fully. So if you're at a point in your life where you feel drained, misunderstood, or stuck, maybe it's not because you care too little. Maybe it's because you care too much about the wrong things. And maybe, just maybe, the life-changing shift you're looking for begins the moment you stop caring what others think, and start listening to yourself instead.